Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready? Okay. This meeting of the Oak Park City Council is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Ed Norris, would you please call the roll?
Mayor McClellan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Speech. Councilmember Radner.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Next, we have approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. These are routine items that are considered as one item without discussion. A, regular council meeting minutes of May 1st, 2017. Special council meeting minutes of May 1st. Planning Commission meetings minutes of April 24th. Emergency Services Council meeting minutes of March 13th and April 10th. Resolution to opt into Oakland County's Urban County Community Development Block Grant, CDBG programs for the program years 2018, 19, and 20. Payment application number 4, it's a final, to Proline Paving Corporation for the Scotia Resurfacing Project M642 in the amount of $5,000. G, payment application number 2 to Deutsche Environmental Services for the 2016 Sewer and Catch Basin Cleaning and TV Inspection Project M641 in the total amount of $48,035.95. H, payment application number 1 to Florence Cement Company of Shelby Township, Michigan for the 2017 Granson Avenue Reconstruction Project, M650, for the total amount of $197,166.48. I, payment of invoices from Orchard, Hiltz, and McClement, OHM, for bridge enhancements and traffic signal optimization in the total amount of $28,733.91. J, public safety activity summary reports for February and March. K, licenses, new and renewals, as submitted for May 15th, 2017. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have a visiting elected official. We have an Oak Park trustee, Claudette Lunkins, and she is going to update us on some graduation news. Welcome.
Thank you. I promise to speak clear, speak slow.
Yeah. Is that mic on? Is the green light on in that mic?
Now, you told me to press the button and the green light come on, and it's
Yeah.
on now. First of all, I want to say good evening to the mayor. Wait a minute,
Good
I lost
evening.
my... Okay. Good evening to the mayor, city council, city manager, Tungate, and citizens of Oak Park. Okay? A lot of this I wrote down because I didn't want to forget anything.
Good idea.
Hopefully, everyone have received the latest copy of our REACH newsletter that went out, and went out to the entire community. We have our first annual, our annual preschool picnic is Thursday, May 18th at Shepherd Park. We look forward for our continuing partnership with the Oak Park Public Safety, who will support with the fire truck
Uh-huh.
for the 4-year-olds.
Give us the date again and the time.
The date is May 18th, and the time, I'm assuming that the time is 9 o'clock because I don't have a time
Got it.
on here. Okay? And to coordinate with the Community Resource Officer, Devin Benson. He is an amazing supporter of the community and the schools. Okay? Next we also thank the City of Oak Public Safety for participating with us, mentoring our 7th graders 7th grade male students for the Oak Park Preparatory Academy as part of my Brother's Keeper initiative. We thank Detective, it's K-O-C-H, Koch, Cook.
Yeah.
I didn't want to mess that one up.
That's
I told
right.
my daughter that. Community Resource Officer Benson, Detective Cooper, for attending the Oakland University meeting for the partnership with us as we mentor our young men. Our annual Hustle for Your Heart. It's going to be at the Oak Park High School, May 26, 2017, from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. And we're hoping everyone can attend. Next, we have our Oak Park High School class of 2017 commencement is Sunday, June 11th, 2017, 9 a.m., Shane Park. Our Oak Park Alternative Education Center and Oak Park Virtual Academy class of 2017 commencement is Thursday, June 15th, 2017, 10 a.m. at Shane Park. As always, we appreciate your support and collaboration efforts of the city and the school district. We appreciate our citizens, residents, and business owners. Thank you.
Thank you
Any
so much.
questions? Okay.
Next, we have a tribute and moment of silence. Sorry. Another elected official. Judge Gubo, did you want to speak? No, just sitting in. Okay, thank you.
Good evening to our mayor pro tem and council, our city manager. This evening I come before you along with the officers that you see aligned in the back of our council chambers here to honor our pledge in remembrance of Officer Henry Wolf. May 21st will mark the 44th anniversary of the death of Public Safety Officer Henry Wolf, who was killed in the line of duty on May 21st, 1973. Although none of the current members of the Public Safety Department had the pleasure of personally knowing Officer Wolf, we stand together as one, honoring his service to this great city. Henry Wolf joined the Oak Park Public Safety Department on April 1st, 1968. Shortly after he married his wife, Linda, his daughter, Laura, was born the following year. Officer Wolf was highly regarded and respected by his fellow officers. During his 5-year career with the department, he earned several citations and commendations, including the Citation for Valor, which was awarded posthumously. At 7:30 a.m. on May 21st, 1973, Officer Wolf made a traffic stop at Sherman and Northfield. Officer Wolf was unaware that the 2 occupants of the vehicle had just been involved in a shooting incident in Royal Oak. As Officer Wolf approached the car, the passenger produced a gun. As Officer Wolf struggled with the passenger, the driver took Officer Wolf's gun from his holster and fired a fatal shot to the back of Officer Wolf. The 2 suspects attempted to flee and exchanged gunfire with Oak Park officers who were arriving on scene to assist. The suspects were later apprehended, tried, and convicted, and both are still serving life sentences for the murder of Officer Wolf. At the age of 27, with 5 years of service, Officer Henry Wolf made the ultimate sacrifice, leaving behind his wife and 4-year-old daughter. Out of respect and gratitude to Officer Wolf, we gather on this 15th day of May, 2017, to honor his service, sacrifice, and bravery. I'd ask that we pause for a moment of silence in remembrance of Officer Wolf, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just in Washington, D.C. It was Police Week. There were officers from all over the world. I spoke to some from England who were there to honor the memory of officers who lost their lives this year. That was this past week in Washington, D.C. Thank you. And then the annual budget.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down to the podium.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, and members of our public. I'm going to go through a very brief presentation, like I do every year, for our budget approval that you will see on our agenda later on here in this meeting. Are we ready? Okay. So I'm going to talk briefly about the fact that the City of Oak Park, as many people don't know, has a 3-year budget. This is now our second year of a 3-year budget, if that makes sense. I will also talk about how the priorities of the administration fit in with the priorities of City Council through their strategic plan, which is good out to 2019. I'm also going to talk about, as I did last year, the current economic environment in the form of some of our challenges, and we share a lot of those challenges with communities around us, obviously. And then I'm going to finally talk about some of the budget highlights in the form of opportunities. So first, strategic plan priorities. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but for those of you that don't know, these are the priorities of City Council as was laid out back in the 2013 strategic planning process. These priorities, as you'll see, are priorities that we share. City Council sets the policies and we implement them. This was the headline of the Oak Park report. I bring this up all the time because it's a reminder that this city was not nearly as financially sound as it is today. In fact, back in 2012, this was shortly before I arrived, and I arrived in the summer of 2012. Actually, this was after I arrived, I guess it was. The city was facing a $3 million operating deficit. It's a tremendous burden for this city of this size. So some of our other challenges over the last several years, as many of you know, you've read the headlines and you've heard that Oak Park is no different than other communities in the sense that the state of Michigan since 2002 has taken away the equivalent of $19 million in revenue sharing. And then you see the quote here from Tony Mangini from the Michigan Municipal League that to the tune of $7.5 billion since 2002, the state has diverted dollars intended for local services to fund the state bureaucracy. So think about it this way. In that same time frame, while our revenues are going down and revenues to communities around the state are down about 56%, state revenues have gone up about 27% in that same amount of time. Boy, I wonder what's going on out there. And I know the mayor had mentioned this at a previous council meeting. I think it's an important point to note that the state of Michigan ranks 50th out of 50 states in terms of the level of funding that it provides to its cities. Very, very challenging.
Yes.
Although taxable values are slowly rising, we lost almost 40% of our taxable value in the Great Recession. So, to put it bluntly, if we get back 1%, which is about the state-driven CPI this year, the rate of inflation, how long will that take us to get back to where we were? Well, a long time, much longer than we have to lose it. And we lost it overnight, and it takes years and years and years to gain it back. It's a major problem. So we're recovering, but the recovery has been slow. And then lastly, the COPS grant has totally left the city's general fund budget now. We're going to continue to apply every year, as we always do. I've spoken with Director Cooper on many occasions about this. I'm hoping the federal government can change some of these regulations so that we can get this grant again. Because for us, the COPS grant goes right to our bottom line. And so it allows us to fund officers in that department. Extremely helpful and now not available. Okay, and then this just underscores, taxable value percent change by year. And you can see the good news here on the far right there that, we're starting to go in the right direction. You can see the dip there. Tremendous, tremendous change before the recession and after. And this is, I think, very telling to see that 1 mil today is not what 1 mil used to be. So 1 mil of tax revenue is about $300,000 or $280,000 less than it was prior to the recession. And I always say this, but if we were a private business, we would be out of business. It doesn't work that way. Very, very difficult. And we've had to make cutbacks and sacrifices in kind. So, some of our other challenges, water and sewer rates. City Council was kind enough to pass on half the rate increase in the current budget year to our water and sewer customers. And as a result of that, we are going to have to pass on a rate increase for the next 3 years. We're not alone. In fact, as I'll show you in a graph here in a minute, Oak Park is pretty much in the median of compared to communities around us. We're going to be recommending a 6% for next year increase, 4.5% for the year after that, and then for the final third year, 7% respectively. Those increases allow us to get by and do the kinds of water and sewer equipment and other infrastructure repairs and maintenance that we need to do in order to keep up what I think is one of the best water and sewer infrastructures around. And as I mentioned, you're going to see here, this is us compared to communities around us. And this was as of 2016, by the way. Those are the latest numbers that we had. But you can see here that, Oak Park is not, we're not the most expensive, and we're certainly not the least expensive, but we're somewhere packed into the middle. If you're in Royal Oak, you can see their rates are much higher. I want to get to the opportunities side of the equation now. Enough of the bad news piece of it. Let's get to the positives. The positives are this. Look at this. This is our general fund balance. In the city of Oak Park, back in 2012 when I came, had about a 2.6% fund balance, if that. Prior to I came, as I showed you, the city's operating budget was in a deficit. Today, we have somewhere around a 17% fund balance. And so what does this mean to the average person? Well, this means that our expenditures, we have 17% of our expenditures set aside, the equivalent of 17% of our expenditures set aside to guard the city against the unforeseen. A lot of people call this the rainy day fund. So if there's a catastrophe or, God forbid, some major issue of any kind, we are able to take that on because we have this money set aside. I'm very, very proud of that. Okay, some of the other opportunities. The passing of 345 back in the fall of 2012 has allowed us to do some things in public safety. One of them is to hire back quite a few of the officers that were lost in the cutbacks. And in the 3-year budget that's in front of you, council members, I have proposed hiring a new public safety officer for each of those 3 years, so a total of 3. In addition to that, we've already received council approval for the introduction, first time in the city's history, of a K-9 unit, and we're going to be sending an officer next week? June 13th. Okay. June 13th, we're sending our officer down for a 6-week training course in Indiana, and I believe the officer will return with our dog, and it'll be the most famous dog in our entire city, I promise. We also, through Director Cooper's leadership, and which is wonderful in our public safety department, we're also pursuing some pretty unconventional things. And one of those is the ice cream truck project that many of you have probably heard about in the media. And we're not doing this so we can catch the bad guys. We're doing this so that we can build relationships and better engage the folks in our neighborhoods. So what is this? This is a ice cream truck that a public safety officer or two will drive around and pass out free ice cream to kids and others. And that ice cream has been generously donated by Prairie Farms here in Oak Park, and we're very excited about that. Another opportunity I think is worth mentioning is the LED streetlight conversion project. Many cities are trying to do this. And so City Council has authorized us to go forward and spend about $625,000 or so to convert all of the city's streetlights from the old bulbs to the LED bulbs. And why is this important from the perspective of the budget? It's important because we think that once installed, which give or take 6 months, we're being told by DTE, we think that we can save about $150,000 on a go-forward basis. So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that adds up. It's a substantial amount of money. That's money that we're no longer going to leave on the table because City Council has authorized the city to make these changes. We're going to continue to focus on economic development initiatives. I mean, look, our long-term growth strategy is paying off. You're seeing the FedEx project, the WWJ restaurant. You're going to be seeing right here along Oak Park Boulevard. We're going to have a project under construction very soon. One-off projects like that, big projects, small projects, there's a whole bunch of different economic development projects happening in our city. And in a community that is fully built out, I don't know of another way to grow our tax base because of the limitations we just talked about with the state than bringing new projects and growing from the ground up. So that's what we're doing. New business starts reflects what I just said. We're seeing, you know, you can look at 2014 versus 2015 and beyond there, and you're seeing more than double new business starts throughout the city. And then we're going to continue to focus on investments in public facilities, infrastructure, and equipment. I talked a moment ago about water and sewer infrastructure, but we're also going to be doing local road projects, including the Granson project, which a portion of that will be funded in the next budget cycle beginning July 1. If you've been down to Granson, you'll notice it's completely torn up and ready for a complete new surface. Here's a couple of the more fanfare-driven projects. One is the water tower in 11 Mile. If you've gone by this water tower now, it's painted in the very handsome baby blue paint, and it stands out with this. I think it blends in with the sky. That was the intent, I think. We're going to use this opportunity because we have to paint the water tower for water quality and maintenance reasons. It's not just an aesthetic thing. But while we're doing it, we're going to take this opportunity and make it more aesthetically pleasing, as you see from the rendering right there. It's going to help brand our city throughout more of our assets. And then also the 696 and Coolidge Bridge improvements. You can see that we're not touching the infrastructure of the bridge. We're not going to close it down. Don't be worried about that. We're going to do an aesthetic improvement to that area. And so what does this do for the, couple 100,000 cars a day that drive down 696 through our community, who may not even know they're in our community, by the way? They're now going to see that they are in our community, and we hope are going to have a well-polished, positive image of what we're doing here in the city of Oak Park. Okay, so what do I need from City Council tonight? This is a long process that began back at the end of February for me, and I would be remiss before I ask for your approval of the various items if I didn't thank some of our staff. Finance Director Sandra Crawford has put her heart and soul into this, hours and hours of work. The Deputy Finance Director Morgan Grondin, Crystal McLean, Karen Bryant, and many others I'm probably not mentioning. Just know that there's an extensive amount of work that goes into a city's budget, especially when it's a 3-year budget. So I'm asking for approval of the fee schedule. I'm asking for approval of the fiscal year 2017-18 millage rates in front of you. And then finally, I'm asking for approval of the annual budget. And I want to thank our elected officials for their support. Without that, we couldn't make this place go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City Manager Tungate has done a remarkable job
Thank you.
moving our city forward. We're lucky to have him and the rest of his staff. Next, we will open the public hearing. If anyone is here to comment only on this budget, this would be your time. So the public hearing is open. Is anyone in the audience here to talk about the budget? Anyone? A budget comment or another comment? There's another time in the agenda that you can comment about anything else other than the budget. Educational budget? Education.
I'm not sure what you mean, but
I think it's the wrong body, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't really get to look over the entire document you have posted,
No
but I
worries.
was wondering about educational improvements that also are budgeted out. I didn't see any, so
do
I
you mean
was
for
wondering.
staff of the city education?
The buildings, the facilities, the educational facilities in Oak Park,
Got it.
is that part of the,
So
Yeah,
the
we-
school system and the city are separate entities, and the, you need to be at a, like a school board meeting for that type of question, I believe.
okay.
The school board governs that.
The school board governs the buildings.
Next meeting is Monday at Grand John at 7 o'clock.
Please come, yep. Thanks. Sure. Thank you. Anyone else? There, seeing no one else, this public hearing is closed. The next thing, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the fiscal year budget 2017-18 and acknowledge the multi-year budget, including projections for fiscal years 2018-19 and 2019-20.
So moved?
Support.
Moved and supported. Are there discussion or questions? Hearing none. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Unanimous. We have adopted the budget. Thank you. Item 8B, resolution adopting the fiscal year 2017-18 budget and acknowledging the multi-year budget in, sorry? C, sorry. Fiscal year millage rates for 2017 and 18. Got it. Is there a motion
So
to
moved.
adopt? And second?
Support?
Supported. Discussion? Yes, City Manager Tungate has something to add about the millage rates.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to point out in this first sentence, I'm sorry, the second sentence in the summary section there, I wanted to just make clear that to our residents especially, as well as city council members, that here again, this is now the second year in a row where we've reduced taxes by .7647 mils. And I wanted to make that clear to everyone.
That's good news out there. Thank you. Roll call, please. D.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Unanimously adopted. D, this is a resolution adopting the fiscal year 2017-18 water and sewer rates. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion?
I have a question for Mr. Tungate.
Yes. This,
This is something I get asked about a lot, the water rates. They seem to be going up a lot with some regularity. You obviously showed the graph just a moment ago, and you showed that in spite of the increases, we're still kind of middle of the road when compared to our neighboring cities. What happens if we don't pass this? Where does that leave us as a city? Where does that leave our finances?
I think, Madam Mayor, if I could.
Yes, please.
It's an excellent question. And I think you mean, and just to clarify, that if you didn't pass an increase,
Correct.
if you just left things at the rate they are now. Well, as I said in the presentation, obviously this is a very, long answer, but to make it as brief as I can, the water and sewer fund balance would be depleted more quickly over time, and that would disallow us from going out and making the kinds of maintenance and infrastructure capital improvements that we absolutely have to make sure our water and sewer system is of the highest quality. We know of communities in the area here, I won't name many names, we've seen them in the media, where they did not do those kinds of things. I
Very
certainly
costly.
don't take any, happiness in other communities suffering, but it is an example of what happens when you're not on top of this. I'm very proud of the efforts of our Assistant City Manager, Kevin Yee, who's really, over the last 18 or so years, done a marvelous job in treating the water and sewer system in this city as if it was his own, and taking ownership of every aspect of it to make sure that it's of the highest quality and standards.
Can I ask one follow-up question, please?
Councilmember Red?
If I recall correctly, last year we had Plant Moran, obviously one of the best in the business, come in and actually do a complete analysis of our water rates and make recommendations. This was one of their recommendations, wasn't it?
That is correct. We actually, just for clarity on that too, we ordered a water and sewer rate template. And Plant Moran has provided for this analysis for many other communities. And what it essentially does is has all of these various inputs. And so you do your inputs, customizing the template to spit out what they think your water and sewer blended rate should be. And so that's what we've now used, because in the past, if you recall, this is prior to the Great Lakes Water Authority being developed and created, we would just pass on the increase from Detroit Water and Sewer that was given to us. This at least puts a level of sophistication and intellect behind the rate structure that maybe we didn't have before, because it might have been the same, might have been a little bit different, but this at least addresses the infrastructure needs and the costs, along with what do we need just to keep the system moving. And so this is driven almost entirely by that template, and it should be on a go-forward basis as well.
Thank you.
Councilmember Speech?
Yes, I just want to underscore a couple of things and then also make a statement. just to underscore what the city manager said about the Department of Public Works and Assistant City Manager Director Yee, the Public Works Department takes great pains in making sure that the city and all of the components of the Public Works is maintained. And that takes effort, that takes time, that also takes staying on top, above the, in front of the ball, so to speak. And so this is somewhat of an investment that we make every year. But also, we have, as a city council, since 2013, at least since us coming in as the new council, myself and the Mayor Pro Tem, we've looked at every resource and tried to save as much as we could for the city, as evidenced, as the city manager mentioned, by the money that we're giving, we're trying to save with millage, as evidenced as what we're trying to save with the DTE credits. You know, there's so many things that we do try to preserve. When it comes to the water rates, I want some clarification. I want the city manager to speak to this. Is the city making any money off of the rates that we raise from the residents?
That's a great question, and you know, I'm going to address that generally, and then
I do
more
know the answer,
specifically.
but I just want it for the
No, I understand.
audience's
I understand.
perspective.
We're a nonprofit motivated, we're government, so first and foremost, we don't have the ability to, even if we wanted to, make a profit, so to
Right.
speak. We are allowed to offset our costs. And so this offsets our administrative costs associated with the system, which a lot of people don't realize how extensive that can be. This is a very, very large system, covers the entire city. I think it's partially because it's underground, people don't realize it's there as much. And it allows us to keep a minimum fund balance in the water and sewer fund to, as I said a moment ago, maintain our infrastructure.
Right. And just as my last comment, you know, I'm very conscious of the fact that if we don't pay for it one way, we will be paying for it another. And so if the rates, we didn't raise, we chose not to in the last budget to raise any rates at all. And we did end up paying for that in another way. We took that, I believe, out of the general fund. So now we're not going to be able to do that going forward because it's not sustainable. We want to make sure that we have a general fund for rainy day, in case, God forbid, there's ever another 500-year flood like we had in 2014. We want to be able to make sure that the city has the capability of still staying afloat. So we have that cushion, but we have to get it from somewhere else. We're not, like you said, a for-profit type of organization. Everything comes from us, from the citizens. So these are the decisions we have to make.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are, further discussion?
I just have a
Yes.
comment.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
I'm sure the city manager mentioned it in his presentation, and I don't know if, I think Councilmember Speech may have touched lightly on it, but please be aware that we have not passed on the recommended increase to the residents of Oak Park. The city has absorbed 50%?
Yes.
50% of the rate increase instead of passing it on to the residents. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that.
That goes in the record. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes, this passes unanimously. Item E, resolution adopting the fiscal year 2017-18 fee schedule.
So moved.
Support?
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes,
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
motion carried. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. Item 10A. This is a special event request submitted by Yeshiva Beth Yehuda, 14 400 West 10 Mile Road for a safety fair and bike-a-thon event to be held on June 11th, 2017. Is there a motion to approve this request?
So moved?
Support.
Moved and supported. Are there questions about this? Any questions?
You know, Madam Mayor, one of the participants of the bike-a-thon is actually sitting in the audience right now.
Oh,
Happens to be my oldest son.
okay.
I don't know if you have any questions for him. I don't. But if somebody else wants to grill him, I'm sure he's up for the
Oh,
challenge.
he'd be delighted. Thank you. Thank you and welcome to both of our young participants for coming to a city council meeting. I'm proud of you. So we have,
Could I just
yes.
add? Council members, this one, they are not, I want to just point out that in this application, they are not asking for you to waive their application fee.
Right.
But I would like to point out that not only are they a not-for-profit, they're also, this is open to the public. And generally in the past, and obviously it's up to your discretion, but in the past, you have waived that fee for other entities of the same kind.
Right. It said it's not advertised, but everyone's welcome. And they said they'd also like to try next year to expand it, to really bring in more people. So we have a motion and a second? Yes. Is there a discussion on any of this? About, are they asking for a fee waiver?
Madam Mayor, they did not, it doesn't appear to me that they did ask for the fee waiver, but they may not.
qualify?
They,
Yeah, they
under the
qualify.
same terms that other nonprofits that are open to the
Okay.
public qualify, but again, it's up to council's discretion.
So this is, do we amend this with a fee
Would like to
waiver
make a motion?
or amendment?
Just put it on there?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
We'd like to recommend that the fee be waived for this particular event as in line with the rules and guidelines that we have adhered to thus far.
Okay, we'll vote on the amendment,
Point of order, there's a motion on the floor right now.
but this is an amendment to the
So,
motion.
so this is an amendment to the motion
So
that's,
we vote on that first.
okay.
Okay. All those in
Support.
favor of, okay, of this waiver?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, now, the motion is amended, is to approve the special event request with the waiver of fees. And that, I think we have a motion and a second.
Correct.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Then we have another event. It's kind of good month for events. Hatzalah is requesting, Hatzalah of Michigan is having a grand opening event held in City Hall lobby on May 22nd, 2017. And is there a waiver fee? No, they're not asking for a waiver.
They are not, Madam Mayor, but they don't meet the same terms as the
Got it.
others.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next is a similar request by our own Ethnic Advisory Commission for a Policing Diverse Communities panel discussion to be held here in City Council chambers on June 22nd, 2017. Do we have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Support?
Moved and supported. Any discussion or questions on this one?
I don't know what the chief thinks of this, but I was actually asked to be a panelist on this.
All right. All right. That would be lovely. Sucked you in. Okay, good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. There is no fee because it's our own city commission that is doing it, and it's open to the public. So that is passed. Next, there are no accounting reports, but we have bids for number 12A. We need to approve a request to award the bid for the 2016 Program Year Yard Service Contract M669 to Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency of Pontiac, Michigan. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support?
Moved and supported. Could we get some, here he is. to tell us a little bit about this.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, City Manager. Yes, I'm asking for the approval to award the bid to OSHA for our yard services program. What that does is allow lawn mowing and snow removal to our seniors. They also go through the vetting process to verify their income and age, and also by using OSHA, we leverage funds that OSHA has to other state grants, which I think is called AAA1. I can tell you exactly what it's called. It's 1B aging funds. They use and leverage that to do additional snow removals for our seniors.
So that we get more for our buck using, more bang for our buck using this
Absolutely.
choice. Great. And this is that 30,000 that we,
Correct. And the yard services contract this year has been increased almost by double to $29,839.
great. So we need, do we have a motion on the floor? We do, and we have a second. Questions for,
No, we need a motion.
do we need a motion?
Madam Mayor, we need a motion.
Got it? Okay.
So moved?
Support.
Moved and supported. Questions for Director Barrett? Council member speech.
Yes, Director Barrett, I just want to make sure that, under the financial statement, it was on the letter, it was 27, it's for the 2017 year, right? Is that just a,
No, there's actually, the federal funds are allocated in previous years. And
oh, it is that?
so our 27 fundings hasn't been approved through the federal government yet. So we are typically, now we're on schedule to be 1 year behind after the funds are approved. So this is program year 26 funds that we're
Okay.
going to be spending in 2017
Okay.
fiscal year.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
Great. And we're happy with the job that they do.
They are doing a very good job. They're excellent.
Great. Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
I think we discussed this when we were initially discussing the grant, but this service is communicated out to the seniors, correct?
Correct. It should be advertised through the rec program with our senior services. And it's getting advertised because there's a waiting list. We do have to vet them out and draw a line to say we're not going to be able to provide the services. And hopefully with this additional funding, we'll eliminate some of or most of that waiting list.
Okay. Yeah, I think, now I remember we discussed that earlier. Thank you.
Yes.
Are we ready to vote? All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Unanimously approved. Thank you. Item B is also awarding the bid of the 2017 Elevated Water Storage Tank Painting Project M667 to LC United of Sterling Heights, Michigan, for the total amount of $252,500. Is there a motion to award the bid?
So moved?
Support.
Moved and supported. And we have Assistant City Manager Kevin Yee. I wondered if that's the total cost for this project, and what does this include?
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. Yes, the $252,500 is the total amount from the contractor to paint the tank. There were design and inspection fees also that were approved in a former contract to Dixon Engineering for, I believe, just under $30,000.
And that's include cleaning out the inside and making it safe on the inside also, is that right?
This is for,
For the paint.
well, they're not going to, I guess, clean, so to speak, the inside, but they're going to be painting the interior, exterior of the tank. So yes, we will
Interior
be
and
emptying
exterior?
Yeah, we will be emptying the tank out.
Wow. Empty the tank out and paint everywhere.
Correct, correct.
Super. Questions? Councilmember Rich.
Yeah, Mr. Yee, the total budget's 350, this painting part's 252, and then you've got another 30,000.
Correct,
So are we coming in way under budget?
correct,
Well, 60,000.
right.
Great. Good
How did
job.
we get that? How did that happen?
Um,
Not that we're complaining.
Because Kevin's a rock star.
I don't write the bids, but, you know, we were fortunate that the bids came in below what we budgeted or possibly expected. And this is the same company that painted the tank about 17 years ago. So I recognized the name, and I looked it up, and sure enough, they were the ones who painted the tank 17 years ago.
It lasted a good long time.
And it's lasted a long time, correct?
City Manager Tunge.
Council members, I want to just make clarification here. This is just the bid, and while that is a very promising number to look at, I don't expect a lot of change orders on this project, Assistant City Manager Yee, but have we seen those in the last time they did the project?
Last time we did it, we didn't have any change orders, so we don't expect to have any. But like you mentioned, you know, the paint's been on a long time, and we are assuming some conditions exist, and they'll be verifying it as we go. But I expect it to be as bid.
And just to justify the whole project, what happens if you don't paint it?
Well, if you don't paint it, then you run the risk of the paint starting to fail, where you'll have to sandblast the old paint off and start over. So if you don't paint it now or very soon here, we're going to run the risk of doing a lot more work than what.
So it's cheaper to maintain it on schedule than it is to let it fail and try and fix it then?
Correct. Well said.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Question, Councilmember Speech.
Director Yee, does this include our logo being put on there?
Correct. It's the coloring and the logos as were shown in the city manager's budget presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions about the tower? Are we ready to vote?
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich, Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carried. Item 13. Item 13 is first reading of an ordinance to amend Article 4 Finance, Chapter 2 Administration of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oak Park by amending Division 2 Purchases thereof, thereby specifying competitive sealed bidding requirements for purchases in excess of $25,000, exceptions to competitive sealed bidding, process for sale or lease of real estate, and procedure for bids on city-owned personal property. I will ask for a motion to approve and then ask our city attorney to translate that into English.
So moved.
Support.
Yes. City Attorney Duff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. What you have before you for review and consideration are proposed revisions. I believe you've also been provided the red line version of the original ordinance as well as the proposed amendments to same. Just by way of background, we have been busy here at the your administration department, especially with our new Community and Economic Development Director, garnering new business and opportunities for the city. Most recently, with our recent lease of a facility to the Hatsala Group, as well as the past 2 years, we've been purchasing tax reversion property through the county. We've taken a closer look at our current city ordinances. And while all of our activities are permitted by ordinance, there were a few gaps in the ordinance that we thought needed to be cleaned up. And specifically, the language of our city charter is vague as to whether competitive bidding should apply to sales of real property. While we have a competitive bidding process already in our ordinance, it was silent as to whether that applied to real property or not. There was also nothing in the language that defined the method of determining appropriate price for leasing and sale of property. So these proposed revisions, again, in an effort to avoid having to amend the charter, are an attempt to specify the types of purchases and expenditures that can be made at certain thresholds. The $25,000 threshold remains the same. The language is just adding to the existing ordinance for clarification of, again, what types of items can be sold under negotiated sale, by auction, or negotiated transaction or proposal. Those are all set forth in the ordinance revisions that are before you at sections 2378 through 2399. Again, we're not changing any of the existing language, but adding just clarification as to what types of property were subject to the negotiated bidding requirement and those that are not. If you have any specific questions, I can address those at this time.
I had a question about the $25,000 sale that the city manager decides unilaterally. Is that with consent of the city council, or?
Well, the city manager has authority to execute contracts under $25,000. That is in the existing ordinance.
That's not a change.
That is not a change.
Got it.
No, that is already in place. What the revised ordinance proposed is to spell out that this also applies to real property, because there was no distinction between contracts, personal services, and real property in the existing ordinance. Also, the next section below that, again, just further spells out, while there was never any exact language in the ordinance, it states which purchases are subject to the competitive sealed bidding and which are not. And again, this was already in practice and permitted by current ordinance, but because it was not definitively defined, we thought it should be there so that there's absolutely no question as to where the authority derives from.
Cleaned it up. Thank you. Any questions? No.
I had one, but I just answered my own
Just
question.
got it answered. Okay. So are we ready for a vote? Do we have a motion? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready for a vote.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Councilmember Speech,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
We are on to the city manager portion of our agenda. City Manager Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, 15A is a resolution authorizing the city to accept a gift to the City of Oak Park to benefit the Oak Park Public Safety Department. This is a gift from a prominent resident individual to the city to hold in a fiduciary account for the benefit of children of sworn public safety officers to help offset costs related to tuition for college and so forth. This is a private donation. It has nothing to do with the city, except that this individual has asked the city hold it instead on his behalf. It's very generous, and I would ask for your approval of it.
So we need a resolution authorizing the city to accept a gift to the City of Oak Park to benefit Oak Park Public Safety.
So moved.
Support.
Supported. Discussion or questions? Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't have a question, I just would like to make a comment. This, as the city manager stated, this donation comes from a great individual who loves the city of Oak Park and wants to continue to assist the city in Oak Park. I think this is something that our public safety officers have earned for the benefit of their families and to ease their financial burden toward education. So I just want to say this is wonderful. This is just absolutely wonderful.
Amazing, yeah.
At no cost to the city at all.
I find myself in a strange position for a politician, speechless. Any other comments? Thank you. We are ready to vote. Does this require a roll call?
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Councilmember Speech,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. Motion carried, and this is an amazingly generous gift to very well-deserving people. It's a blessing to the city.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I believe 15B, C, and D will have to approve separately, but they are all related to the SAD unpaid delinquent utilities, unpaid property blight, and unpaid sidewalk replacement. We do have our finance director, Sandra Crawford, here if you have any specific questions. Just know that each and every one of these has been vetted out at this point. So all of the ones that were taken off at the public hearing, we have now vetted, and this is the final recommended list. And I don't know if you want to.
That is true. That I was just going to say the exact same sentiments.
So we are asking you to receive and approve exception recommendations as submitted regarding Special Assessment District 660 unpaid delinquent utilities. So can we have the motion in the second and then questions?
So moved.
Support.
Support. Are there questions for our finance director?
I have a question.
Councilmember Speech.
Has the city received any letters from anyone regarding any of these for the council to consider?
Not since the last meeting.
Okay.
When we had the public hearing, no.
Thank you.
So just the procedure, to review the procedure.
We had a public hearing last council meeting.
Talk
I'm
into the
sorry.
mic so they
We had a
can hear you
council,
well.
at the last council meeting, we had a public hearing, and at that time, we opened it for anybody who wanted to either by letter or come in person to dispute and have us to go back and research it, and so that is what we have done. And so we had found that out of the 3 that had petitioned us, 2 needs to be put back on and 1 needs to be taken off, and we've listed the properties and the tax ID numbers as stated.
Okay. The city very carefully takes your concerns into account and very carefully researches them, and sometimes finds in your favor or our favor, depending on what they discover.
Absolutely.
So, do we have a motion, yes? Yes? Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Motion carried. We're now on 15C, which is, we need a motion to receive and approve exception recommendations as submitted regarding Special Assessment District 662 unpaid property blight.
So moved?
Support.
Support. Questions? So it looks like one of them was restored to the list, but 4 of them were permanently removed from the Special Assessment District. Okay. Any questions about these?
I don't have a question about these per se, but I do want to just make a general comment for the public. And actually, City Manager, I do have a question for you, maybe a recommendation. Just for the purposes of the public, these special assessments, when we have these opportunities for the public to come in and say something, it's our last, us giving another opportunity for you to either say, we didn't, there must be a mistake, or give us, maybe explain a little bit as to why, for whatever reason, you may have violated an ordinance. For example, your grass was too high, or the snow didn't get shoveled, or the cracks in the cement, whatever the assessment was against your property, what is it that you want the city to consider before it's totally assessed? And so we have these public hearings, not public hearings, we have it where you can come in and tell us, you can write to us. Several community members email me or call me and leave me a voicemail. I don't know what it is about my name, but a lot of people tell me they see my name, and so they chose me and leave me a voicemail. And I will subsequently give that information to the city manager or the department that they need, if I get enough information, if they call me back after they've left me a message. But that usually has to happen. You have to communicate. If that does happen and you all work it out, then we do try our best to help you with it. But City Manager, my question is there anything after this process is done, if they haven't communicated to us, is there anything else that can be done, or is that it? That's it.
Yeah, this is it. This is the final step.
I kind of know that, but I need him to, as the administrator, I want him to tell us, tell the community that, as far as the final steps.
If I may, Councilmember Chu, one thing that you correctly stated I wanted to underscore was that the city is, and on all of these, and I oversee this obviously, so the city is extremely gracious and flexible in determining whether or not these end up in the final rules.
Right.
And so now that we're at this final stage in the process, you can be assured that whatever we could do, we have done and led us to this point.
Correct. And then also, you know, we have a wonderful new website. If no one has looked at it recently, we have a new website and web address, oakparkmi.gov. And so it is an opportunity for you to go there, and there's a lot of information about what are our rules as a city, our ordinances, what departments to get in touch with, who to get in touch with. You can call us, email us, put information through on your on the website. We actually have a citizens portal where you can either report things or get in touch with departments, ask for help, etc., pay bills. And so there's ample opportunities to communicate with us if you need help. We don't want it to get to this point where we're kind of, you know, when the mayor hits that gavel the last time, that's it. And so we don't want it to go to that point. But certainly, we want you to understand the process. So if you have any questions, get in touch with us.
Thank you. Very helpful. We are we're open to our residents. Want you to feel very welcome to call any of us or city offices with any question or issue that you have. This is your city. Next, we have sidewalk.
I think we have a vote.
Got a vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Speech,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes,
Councilmember Radner,
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
motion carried. D, you're asked to receive and approve exception recommendations as submitted regarding Special Assessment District 663 unpaid sidewalk replacement. Is there a motion to receive and approve?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Are there questions about this one? The two that were questioned were restored to the assessment district. No questions? Roll call then, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich,
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I'm going to ask Director Maroney for 15E, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council members. We have finally gotten to the point of our Corridor Improvement Authority in putting in front of you a tax sharing agreement with the county. So I'm very happy we finally got there. It was approved by Oakland County Commissioners at their May 10th meeting. So we are looking for you to approve it tonight for a 75% tax capture for our Corridor Improvement Authority moving forward.
Right. We've discussed this before, but can you just explain where the taxes are going now and where they're going to go because of this agreement?
This agreement was not in place before, so we weren't capturing any of the taxes that were from the county. So this allows us to capture those taxes and use them for all the projects we've identified in our Corridor Improvement Authority. A lot of those are placemaking, the new 9-mile redesign, pocket parks, streetscape amenities, business programs, facade improvement programs. There's a whole multitude of things that we're going to be doing with the Corridor Improvement Authority.
Without this Corridor Improvement Authority, that money would just go to the county.
Correct. This
But
is
with
this is
this
money we
agreement-
currently do not capture, and we can use it towards all of our projects specifically for our city.
We get 75% of the money that would have gone back to the county, if I have it correct, to improve our business district.
Madam Mayor, let me just clarify, it's not 75% of the total taxes that would have gone to the county. So in the tax increment financing district, it's the increment increase that would have, 75% of the increment increase, if that makes sense, that would have gone to the county. And as you just mentioned correctly, this is money that we otherwise would not have seen had we not had this capture.
Right. So good news for the city. We need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Questions for the director? Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I just wanted to thank the city manager, yourself, and Oakland County Commissioner Helene Zach for making this come to fruition. I know it took a lot of meetings and a lot of hard work and a lot of negotiations. So thank you.
If,
Right.
Madam Mayor,
Thank
if I
you.
could just
Yes.
piggyback on that, I would like to make sure that all due credit goes to Director Maroney for her hard work. She has spearheaded this thing from the beginning. My efforts have been very minimal. She has been a true leader in getting this done and now seeking your final approval.
And patience. And,
don't sell
and
yourself-
good temper in the face of frustration, I think. Bravo.
And don't
Oh,
sell
thank you.
yourself too short, City Manager. I know you were in quite a
Yes,
few meetings.
Eric was quite involved in the
Yes, I
process.
know he was, and he bumped quite a few heads, so.
Thank you. That's good news for the city.
And always, Kim, wonderful job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any comments? Nope. Roll call, please.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, item F.
Yes, we have in front of you a site plan review for Aldi Food Market. They are on Greenfield, south of 11 Mile, and they are planning an expansion. Their original expansion included just doing a small expansion of 1,583 square feet on the south side of the building, but then they came back to us to do an additional 610 square foot addition on their rear of the building, which put it outside of our administrative approval of 2,000 square feet. So it has been approved by our planning commission, and this is part of their process in revamping the look of all their Aldi markets. We are one of the first few in Michigan that is able to get that because of the volume that store creates here. So it's one of their better performing stores based on what we've been told. We also have a representative from Aldi here if you'd like to ask him any questions as well.
Yes, we would love to hear from him. If you can give us your name and position with Aldi's.
Good evening, Chris Jankovich. I'm the civil engineer for Aldi for Michigan. And as was stated, we are looking to expand and remodel the store here in the city of Oak Park. This will be a full interior and exterior remodel with the addition on the south side of the building and an addition off the back of the building. Looking to revamp the building to become more energy efficient, LED lighting, better refrigeration systems, and to be able to provide more product to our customers. And
That's wonderful.
definitely seeking your approval tonight.
When do you expect this to begin, and when do you expect it to end?
We are actually getting ready to start construction here very soon. We do have plans in for review. Obviously, with this change to the back room, we will need to submit some amended plans, but we are in the process of pulling permits at this time.
Wonderful. Okay. So we need a motion to approve the final site plan.
So moved?
Support.
Moved and supported. Are there questions?
No question, just a comment. Just thank you for staying in Oak Park and growing.
Absolutely,
Okay.
thank you.
Delighted to hear that we're your good business opportunity. That's great. And new interior and exterior always cheers everyone up.
Yes.
And it's a nice thing for the city. Thank you. Let's see. We have a motion? Ready for a vote?
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Delighted to have you. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Director Maroney, 15G, please.
This is the second year that we've done the tax foreclosure program in the city of Oak Park, and for 2 years in a row, we have used Global Realty JSR funding to do that program with us. We repurchased all of the tax foreclosed properties from Oakland County in order to keep them in owner-occupant hands and improve the homes that we get in the tax foreclosure process. In the past, they were all put on the county auction steps and typically sold to investors, turned into rentals with very little investment. This new program has allowed us to increase property values and get owner occupants into these homes, thus reducing the rate of the amount of rental homes we have in the community. We do have Jim Budziak here in the audience today, who's going to do a brief presentation for you. We have asked him to do this for City Council every year. So this is his update from the properties that were purchased last August.
Right. I was told when this first came up to watch out because some of these people aren't on the up and up. These people are on the up and up, and we are thrilled with the work they've done.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members, thank you for having us tonight. And I'll just get right into it. So this is my typical update where I will start. I actually added one thing this year. This is our typical scope of work on most of the houses. Pretty self-explanatory. And I added a spreadsheet this year. I believe you already have copies of the spreadsheet. So I won't spend much time on it. But I guess a couple of...
You can summarize it. They can't see the numbers, so if you could give us a couple of examples, that would be good.
Okay, well, I'll start right at the top with 23430 Sherman. The renovation budget to this point is $26,530. The home is not completed, but one of the important parts of the city is the assessed value is $36,400, and our listed price is going to be $120,000. So that's going to significantly increase the value of the property. And we've seen that across the board for the last 2 years. And the important part of that is it not only increases the value of that property, but it increases the value of all properties. Because as we spend more time in communities year after year, we start to see momentum with the appraisers, and the appraisers typically go to our properties, even for other properties in the city that are sold, because they know that our properties tend to be the highest comps. So not only does it increase the value of the properties we renovate, it increases the value of all the properties in the community.
And the neighbors are thrilled.
And the neighbors are typically thrilled with the renovation. Most of the time, the tax sale properties are in worse condition. They're even worse than most of your bank-owned properties. They tend to be in pretty tough shape, and you'll see that with some of the pictures. The only other thing I would point out is that you can see the renovation costs. I mean, we had agreed with the city to spend a minimum average of $25,000. We've clearly exceeded that. We could have not spent this much money, but we make a commitment to the community because we don't want to be here for 1 year or 2 years. We're hoping to do this for a long time, and we like to get the renovations done properly.
Right.
With that, I'll move on to some of the pictures.
There was one that had, the one on Dartmouth had quite a high renovation cost. Can you speak to that one?
Let's wait till we get to the pictures. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but many of these properties had mold remediation. They have new roofs, new driveways, new kitchens, granite countertops, all new tile, new flooring, new paint. So a roof
Heating system, that kind of thing?
Heating system. And so when you see the higher numbers, typically that means we probably did a roof, we probably did concrete work, we probably did a new furnace. And so that the typical rehab, that's about $30,000 to $35,000 grows quickly when you add roof, concrete, and heating systems that aren't in the typical renovation
I just
number.
noticed your minimum is $25,000, and this one is $61,833, and another one is $58,647. Clearly, more than you were required.
Yes.
Now, these are all new homes, right? These aren't ones that we
These
saw.
are rehabilitated homes.
No, I'm saying these are for this,
Yeah,
these are the second-year homes. These aren't homes that we've seen before. These are the second year.
Correct.
Okay.
These are second-year homes. Oops. So this is 8771 Troy. That's a before and after. That's obviously new vinyl siding on the garage, a new roof went on that garage, new gutters. There's the kitchen.
Oh. Wow.
That's the basement. That's our typical rehab in the basement. We just paint the walls, we paint the floor, we paint the ceiling.
So you've changed it from the worst house on the block to the probably the best.
That's typically what happens.
This house got $45,054 of work. Wow.
And I apologize for the snow, but some of these were renovated and sold pretty quickly. You can see there was a porch area that was in pretty tough shape. We removed it and just turned it into an open porch off the back of the house.
Hmm.
Whoops.
Wow. Hmm.
A lot of these had original kitchens and baths.
New siding then, huh? New roof?
Yeah, it's a new roof. That siding looks like it may have been painted.
Got it.
Garage completely updated. Try not to bore you with the pictures.
No, they're not boring. They're
Incredible
actually
work. You
amazing.
guys do incredible work.
Yeah, thank you.
Turned it from something you wouldn't want to live in to something that you would be happy to live in.
Yeah, that heating pipe right there definitely was not code. That run is much too long.
Ah, my
That's
gosh.
just, that's a house that's still currently under renovation. That was in pretty tough shape. There's a, there's a home with a new driveway, new walkway, new roof. And this one is still under renovation. There's a driveway and a walkway going in on Clover Lawn. We rebuilt the back deck. It was falling apart.
Wow.
So, and then this is the new construction home. Last year, as part of the package, there was a vacant lot in the package. And so we agreed to build a new construction home. Took us a little bit of a while to kind of find what's going to fit to the neighborhood. I settled in on that plan, so that's going to be the home that's going to be built on the lot. We're actually in for permits right now with the city, hoping to break ground in the next week or two. Should take about 3 months to build. The projected sales price is $199,000.
Wow.
And I did include a floor plan. At this point, I would open it up to questions.
Keep it up.
All right,
Don't stop.
that's,
I'm particularly impressed that you go over what you're required to do to make it a nice house.
Good work.
If you're required to spend 25,000, you don't spend, 24,999, you spend 46. It's amazing.
well, we're keenly aware that there's competition out there, and we're not the only guys in town. And if we don't do things right,
Yeah,
we understand we may not be invited back.
true,
So,
true. You've pleased our building department that.
yeah, they've been fantastic to work with, really. It's, I can't say that about every community. I mean, they're fair, and if you do things right, they're fair with you, and they want it done right, but they're fair about how they go about their business. And I can't always say that in every community, so it's actually been a pleasure to get to know them and work with them. And I know my contractors like working in this community. And values have been really, really strong. I mean, the values are coming back in Oak Park big time.
Nice.
So
That's wonderful.
that's
Thank
all
you.
I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to next year.
Thank you.
What's that?
I would like to ask Assistant City Manager Yee, we got a insect. Assistant City Manager Yee to join me at the podium for 15H, and you have a guest.
I do have a guest. Good evening again. I would like to take a moment to introduce our new, and I say new, he's been here a couple months now, Assistant City Engineer, Jiraj Searles is his name. He has went to Michigan Tech, but eventually graduated from University of Detroit with a civil engineering degree. I believe he had about 10 years experience in the private industry before he went to become a civil engineer and a director of public works in another community. And we were able to bring him over to Oak Park here. He's put together a lot of the agenda items from the engineering department that you've seen tonight, and we're very pleased to have him here. So I wanted to introduce Jiraj Searles to City Council and I guess let you know that he will be starting to take over a lot of the engineering role.
Wonderful. Thank you. And welcome. Do you want to say a few words?
Greetings to you, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city officials. It's definitely an honor and a pleasure to be here and look forward to working with you all.
We're delighted. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're going to like us.
So with that, we have attached a proposal from OHM to perform engineering services required to complete a comprehensive asset management plan for the city's wastewater system through the MDEQ SAW grant. It is recommended that the proposal from OHM advisors to perform engineering services required to complete a comprehensive asset management plan for the wastewater system through the SAW grant program, which is 90% grant funded of the total $620,100, along with the optional services in the proposal, be approved for the not-to-exceed amount of $186,000 upon final review from the city attorney's office. There is $25,000 budgeted in the water and sewer fund in each of fiscal year 2016-17 and 17-18 for support on this project. I would admittedly say that I mistakenly did not budget the proper amount because I was thinking that we only needed to pay the 10%, which is what we were reimbursed the other 90% through the grant program. So we will need to, I will be requesting that additional $136,000 be taken from the water and sewer fund balance to supplement the budgeted amount. And again, of the $186,000, $153,000 will be reimbursed to the city as part of the grant, leaving a total cost to the city of $33,000.
Okay, and you would like us to,
I would like you to approve the proposal from OHM upon review from the city attorney's office, and further request that $136,000 be taken from the water and sewer fund balance to supplement the budgeted amount, and will be reimbursed for those costs.
Okay, do we have that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Can you explain a asset management plan for wastewater system? What is it?
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of it are things that we do now in evaluating our sewer system. This takes it a step further and does some manhole evaluations and puts it into a whole comprehensive plan, which we do not have a comprehensive plan that is laid out under this. But this grant has supplied us with a lot of our equipment. We bought a GPS unit for surveying. We've bought some computers, some tablets. So it's a great opportunity for us to not only do a lot of the work that we've been doing, which includes some videotaping, cleaning and televising of some sewers, but it also take it a step further in doing some manhole inspections and also buying some equipment and having it 90% funded.
New equipment. Okay, any questions? No.
I'm sorry.
Question, Mayor, council member speech.
Is it 186 or 136 that you need?
It is $186,000, but I need $136,000 from the fund balance to pay for it, because I did budget $25,000 in each of this current year and next year. So $50,000 is budgeted for. I need $136,000 from fund balance, which we will be receiving $153,000 back.
Okay, I got you.
I know it's kind of confusing.
The bottom line
I've got
is,
it now. I'm
it
looking.
costs us $33,000.
Correct.
And we're getting
Bottom
a
line.
lot
We're
of
getting reimbursed.
equipment and inspections and a comprehensive plan.
Correct.
Sounds like a good deal. Okay,
Thank you.
we have a motion? Yep,
It's already
okay.
up.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rich.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes,
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Thank you.
motion carried.
Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a big one. Thank you all for sitting through all of that. Call to the audience. Is anyone here to speak? Yes, please come up. Mrs. Lunkins.
So let the audience know that our next board meeting is May 22nd at 7 p.m. on Grand Zine. And I have a question from my granddaughter. When are y'all planting the sunflowers?
To
And
sell
if so, are we
flowers.
going to use our elementary students to help plant the sunflowers?
Okay, question. And City Manager Tungate will answer that one.
Okay.
For purposes of saving time, I know people are ready to get out of here, so Assistant City Manager Yee can answer that. His staff are involved. But we're
Okay.
planning them now, just so you know.
Okay.
But as far as the involvement of the kids and so forth, he can answer those in specificity.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And we thank your granddaughter for bringing a question to the City Council. Starting to become an active resident. Anyone else?
Hello, Mayor.
Name and address, please.
Larry Mason, 13201 North End.
And how can we help you?
So I'm here because I understand, my father reached out to you, Mayor, a few days ago, and then I reached out to Councilmember Randair today at some point about, I have an opportunity I have a $1.4 million warehouse in Oak Park, and I have an opportunity to do business with medical marijuana. And I'm understood that you guys are opposed to allowing that in the city of Oak Park, and I'm just here to kind of, feel out the water, find out why you guys would be opposed to something like that.
Absolutely. Thank you. We will, when you have 3 minutes, so if you'd like to talk
Sure.
about it.
Well, I don't see any ethical, moral reasons, and there's definitely not any free market reasons why the city of Oak Park wouldn't, be ahead of the curve, something that's imminent and it's coming regardless. There's tons of attributes to bringing it out of the shadows, bringing it out of the black market, legitimizing it. It is medicine. It does help people. It does help local Oak Parkers. It's going to be legal in the state. They're issuing licenses. Obviously, I would be a licensed, grow. I don't see any reasons whatsoever. There's no liability. There's nothing extra that would prohibit or that would cost the city any extra grievances from allowing this business or allowing me to operate a business as medical marijuana in the city. That's pretty much it in 3 minutes.
I did enjoy talking with your dad. He was very helpful to a resident in need at Christmas time. So please extend our thanks to him for his
We do a lot for the city.
Yeah. Thank you. If you're set, then we can have someone answer.
Yeah, sure.
We're going to have Councilmember Radner speak to that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. Although it's not really, I guess it's not really protocol to engage in question and answer at this time, I will respond to this because it is something that a number of residents have brought to our attention, and it's something that, that we probably should speak to. And very simply, the way that at least I view this, and I think I speak for council when I say this, the way we view marijuana in general is that it's a federal issue, and it's a federal crime, and how the states have their laws exactly set up and how they're not all completely nullified by preemption is something that I've struggled with. But for purposes of permitting our residents or people, our businesses, to engage in activity which is unequivocally illegal under federal law, is something that I think is not something that we should be doing. I think it's a dangerous thing for us to be doing. The federal enforcement agencies can come in and create problems for us, for our law enforcement, especially because, like you said, there's conflicting state and federal law. It's something that creates more problems than solutions. Now, obviously, once the federal government decides to legalize it, it's a whole nother world. But this would be like, in the days of preemption, a state saying, we're allowed to have alcohol here. And then a city saying, all right, let's welcome people to go ahead and produce your alcohol here. It's a dangerous thing for us to do. It's very similar to the immigration to sanctuary cities, which is also something that we're not getting involved in, because that too is a federal issue. These are federal issues, and when you kind of thumb your nose at the federal government, they know where you are. And right now, Trump is having ICE target sanctuary cities because they basically said, this is where we are. If we go and say, everybody bring your grow operations here, we're basically telling the federal government, coming over here, this is where we are. And until the federal government acts on it, we're not going to act on it. You did raise some good points, though.
Thank you both for an interesting.
I'll talk to you afterwards about it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience interested in speaking? Seeing none. There are a few things that I wanted to bring up. Good news, we have 2 officers that were sworn in May. On May 4th, Patrick Lakoska, and this morning, I think, Jason Chwalik. So welcome to the Oak Park force, and we're delighted to be adding officers, delighted. South Oakland County Mayors Association had an interesting meeting. They asked Chad Stewart from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Urban Deer Management, who basically talked about Bambi is really cute, and right up until he eats your entire new landscaping project. And that's the problem that some of the cities are having as we encroach on former deer residents, like we did when we built FedEx. There were a lot of deer in that field, and now they're kind of wandering around in our gardens. And the female deer could have 3 babies a year. So if you have a herd, that herd is going to expand until it is bumping up against the residents and their hopes for petunias in pots on their front porch. So that was an interesting discussion. I'd like to send condolences to the family of former Oak Park resident and activist Debbie Goldberg, who passed away this week. July 3rd, 1945, Oak Park became a city, and we are going to be having our 57th annual 4th of July parade. Put that on the calendar, and don't forget to bring the kids. And if the kids have an idea for being, a float or something, we're open for that, and our rec department would love to talk to you about it. Contact the rec department about terms and conditions if you'd like to participate. We're having a flower sale May 28th on a Sunday, 10 to 5. Get there early if you like unusual things, because the unusual things go first. So camp out early, and thank you so much for coming to our council meeting. Mayor Pro Tem Burns.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say hello, and with the time change, our days have gotten much longer now. So please be cognizant of that and handle yourselves accordingly. I'd also like to give a shout out to our residents of Oak Park. I had the privilege of giving the opening remarks for the great parade held yesterday at Pepper Elementary School, celebrating Lag BaOmer. And it was put on by the Lubavitch Yeshiva students.
All right.
It was a wonderful experience. The chair of the event was a student, Nahum Rabin. Did I right? And it was a wonderful event. It was my honor to be there. It was an honor to speak and to give updates on all of the city events. And this is also graduation season. It is May 15th, so we will start to see the hats and the gowns. Please be careful of our graduates and their partying. Please make sure that we watch out for our graduates over the next couple of months, all ages. We have graduates from elementary school all the way through college, and this will be the season for the graduations, especially at the home level where we have our residents and homeowners giving graduation parties for their kids at their home. So just be conscious of, and keep them safe. Just be conscious of your area and your neighborhood and the kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Radner.
Thank you all for coming out. Have a wonderful evening.
Councilmember Speech.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Councilmember Rich.
Good night.
And with that, there being no further business to come before this council, this meeting is adjourned.
He waiting on you, sir.
Yours is better. Dang it.
No, yours is good.
No, they sent it online sometimes. I always had